as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. On Stockbox today, we welcome the co-founder and executive chairman of Coinsilium, Malcolm Palle. Hi, Malcolm.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you, Malcolm. And how are you?
Yeah, great, thanks.
Is it cold and snowy in Gibraltar?
No, it's hot and sunny. Well, it's not hot, but it's very sunny, and still locked down, but it's hopefully going to be easing up soon. And when the weather gets good, everyone feels a little bit better. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think I know you've not been having an easy time with the weather where you are.
Yeah, so, rather snowy and cold, but there we go. That's what we expect this time of year. So today, Coinsilium has announced an RNS, haven't you? And you've given a crypto Treasury status update where you've stated that the value is just under $2 million. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, the update, just to give it a bit of context, we were going to announce, because we had to, the developments with Indorse, which were part of that announcement, one of our advisory clients, also a portfolio company. So we have a lot of touch points with Indorse, and we also incubated them. We're very, very close with them. And they'd announced the launch of their staking dashboard, which we'll go into a little bit later. But this is a kind of a project that I don't think the market really appreciates the potential of it. And that's because it started from such a low base. We'll go into that afterwards. But the point I want to make is that we sort of saw we had another look at our Treasury, which we sort of monitor very, very regularly and actively. And we saw it sort of, it was up quite a bit. And we thought, well, let's use this opportunity to actually, demonstrate how we only actually announced our last update 3 weeks ago. But it moved so significantly since then that we thought it was important to, just keep investors up to speed with how well things are going. And so in August last year, it was just over 500,000. We announced again in December that it was just over, we managed to turn that 500,000 into just over $1 million. And we went up, I think, in January to 1.5 million, and now close on 2. So, it's a very, active market. And so we're working really hard to ensure that crypto treasury grows to the fastest and most aggressively as we can. So, so that's the good news there. And we thought, well, it's only been 3 weeks, but if we can demonstrate the growth in 3 weeks, then at 17%, then that should give the market some confidence in our ability to actually keep this going while the market's on fire. Now, of course, just about an hour ago, the price of Bitcoin shot up to an all-time high, and it's currently trading, I think, at around just under 34,000. Is it? You know what? I'm losing track of this. It's moving so fast. Just it's $43,500 a bit. Now, if we'd waited a few hours and announced our treasury position, again, it's up 17% in the last 3 weeks. If we would have waited a few hours, we would have been able to add another 10% to that figure. So, this is a very fast-moving target, but obviously, we're in the right place. We've got exposure to the cryptocurrencies, and, obviously a lot of the work we do, the advisory work we do, is going to be denominated in cryptocurrencies. And likewise, our activities in non-fungible tokens are all on crypto platforms, and so we'll be generating more revenues in crypto. So we expect that figure to grow materially, and we're working as hard as we can to actually make that happen. So I'm not going to give you any targets at the moment; it's too soon. But just look at the track record we've demonstrated over the last 6 months, and see how you want to extrapolate that and see what's going on. But it's unusual and exciting times.
So you mentioned there the price of Bitcoin going up quite recently, very recently, just literally in the last sort of hour or two. Now, obviously, it's probably because of our friend Elon Musk, or we've heard the news Tesla are buying it. Now, obviously, he likes space. He likes to take things into into space. It was a high altitude. What do you think this means for Bitcoin? Do you think it's significant?
Very, but it's not the only move afoot. I mean, we're insiders in the space, so we can see what's happening. Well, I must admit, I didn't know that this would be announced, but we also know from inside the industry this is just one move of many that is expected. So I think there's two factors to this. Firstly, they're 1.5 billion is it's a reasonable amount of money. It's not. I won't say it's a drop in the ocean for Tesla, but it's still it's not all their treasury. But they feel it's the right thing to do to actually give them kind of a hedge against potential inflation, and also a element of their treasury which will generate revenues or generate returns, should I say. But of course, the other aspect of this is they also announced that they'll be looking to accept payments in crypto across their product range.
Mm.
Now, this, of course, depending on which territory they're operating in, some territories it might not be possible for regulatory reasons. But it's certainly a move which will sort of show people who are kind of often saying about Bitcoin and crypto, what can you use it for? It's a real live case of it. And if they're prepared to accept payment in crypto, it'll open them up to a much wider audience of very wealthy crypto investors who, would be, I would have thought, keen to actually use their crypto to buy things they want to buy and decide, and be discerning about it. And it also is another use case for the technology. So it's fantastic. But again, expect more developments along these lines, and this is just the start. And of course, that's fantastic for the sector, and it's great for Coinsilium as well.
Excellent. And of course, you also mentioned Riff being up quite considerably in the last 3 months as well for Coinsilium.
Yes. Well, we have vesting and vested and vesting tokens around 2 million Riff, which is RSK infrastructure framework tokens, and they listed recently on Binance, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. That was a kind of seminal moment because liquidity was a bit of an issue beforehand with the exchanges they were on, but now they're on Binance. It was a bit volatile, but it settled around 15, 16 cents, and now it's up to around 23, 24 cents. As they start, announcing more news, and the awareness grows, we expect that to start taking hold. But I mean, it's up 160% or so in the last 3 months. So all these tokens, people are waiting for what we call alt season, which is when the other tokens start going crazy. But all bets are off at the moment. It looks like the whole market's moving in unison. So yes, it bodes well, and with a big chunk of tokens like that, we can expect to see. We're very optimistic that we'll see some good returns on those. Although most of our portfolio is actually in Bitcoin and Ether, and we have some Icon, and Riff is also in there, but it's not a huge. It's not the largest part of our portfolio. Our Bitcoin and Ether are the predominant parts. We tend to prefer to have a significant proportion in those current cryptocurrencies for growth and liquidity.
Okay, well, looking good so far then on your treasury, Malcolm. But of course, the main point of the news release today was on the IND announcement. So they've announced the launch of a staking dashboard, and they say it's the first step towards IND 2.0. So can you maybe explain this a little bit more?
Yes, of course. So Indorse was a company that we helped incubate, and from day one, we were the first external investors. They when they did their token sale, so we funded them for their token sale. and we took a further stake in them a little bit later. But what sort of happened in the process is the business was doing well, and that's great for Coinsilium as a shareholder. But the token was kind of struggling to actually get the utility working in line with what they initially anticipated it to do. So in order to kind of ensure that they're doing the right things by token holders and all the contributors, they acknowledged they needed to remodel their token to actually make it more fitting. And with this wave of DeFi and decentralization, open finance, the kind of mechanism that makes tokens work better is staking. But you have to have a rationale for that staking. So that's where they sort of called on us, because with our experience in token modeling, what we bring to the party is the understanding of what models strategically would be the best to work. And Eddie's kind of worked with them to define a model which has got legs and works with staking. Now, of course, we're taking this particular project from a very low base, and the market cap at the moment, which for the Indorse token is around 300, or at least it was last time I looked at 300,000, which is tiny, absolutely tiny. But we've seen with all these kind of DeFi models that when you actually get them right, they can explode. And we've now got to the stage where we've helped them, and they've integrated they're starting with the staking dashboard, which is where you go to actually stake your tokens. And staking is a mechanism whereby you lock your cryptocurrency token into a wallet. So you agree not to spend it, and that is that kind of delivered through a smart contract. So that's the agreement. You put your funds in; they're locked in for a period of time. And what that does is it reduces the circulating supply of tokens, thereby increasing the scarcity of tokens and pushing the value and the price up. So the more tokens that are staked, the less there are circulating and the higher the price goes. Now, that works when you've got a functioning model where the tokens are actually going to be used. So that's the first step in that process. So the staking process, the staking dashboard is where you go to stake the tokens. And that's just been launched today. The next, that's the first step towards the full new Indorse 2.0, which will be the final version. But in order to stake your tokens, you see, you need to get something in return. Otherwise, why would you lock them up? And the way this works is that you're given rewards in the way of further tokens. So it's like, and it's contributed an interest rate to this, depending on how the supply and demand goes. But they've got they've put aside just over 14.5 million tokens for rewards, which are coming out of what they call their inflation tokens that they set aside when they did their ICO, their token sale in 2017. So that whole model is, we've helped them set up, and from Coinsilium's point of view, we've got a tremendous incentive to ensure that we help them get the value of the tokens up, and we want to make sure that we get the valuation where it needs to be. So that's reflected in the value of our token holding.
So the benefit to Coinsilium then is you get a bit of interest for staking some tokens, but what is there an exit? Do you sell the tokens eventually?
Well, we obviously that's the ultimate exit for anything, but you don't. It's not binary. It's not binary. We don't necessarily sell them all, or we could buy more if they go down in price and we think they're attractive, and we could also hold more in staking so that we actually sort of get the yield that we want off of it. But it's all open to see what we want to do. The most important thing is that we are sort of significant stakeholders. we're also 10% shareholders in Indorse as a company.
Okay.
There's lots of things that can be done with it. But most important thing is to get the token model 2.0 working as it needs to be. And then that will then, everything else will flow through from that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And just finally, then, Malcolm, what about the share price of Coinsilium? How's that performing? How do you feel about it?
Well, thank you for hitting me with that one. Well, look, it's not, it's not great. I mean, in overall terms, what do you want to look at? Do you want to look at the fact that it's gone up by 100% in the last or more in the last few months? Well, everything that's got crypto next to it is going to go up by that much. So it's not something I'm particularly comfortable with judging us by. But equally, I don't think it factors in anything that we've got in the pipeline and anything that we're sort of building up in terms of the value of what we actually own. So, there's lots of factors that make up the valuation of Coinsilium, but ultimately, as things stand, I don't think the share price kind of reflects what we see coming down the line and what we expect to be able to announce, certainly with our new NFT project and various things like that. But, this is kind of not unusual. The mining space well. You talk about companies with projects and how big they could be, but it's only when the share price starts moving that everyone jumps on it. A lot of people are already there. They're sitting there. They hear the news. They think it's great. They see they're doing great things, but the price doesn't move for whatever reason for a period of time. And then when it does start to move, of course, it's like sort of waiting to get on the bus at the last minute. So I'm used to this. I'm not happy with it. We're doing as much as we believe we can. We've got some news that we've been struggling to get out, but there's quite a lot of it. But it's down to you can't release news until it's absolutely signed off, and but we're trying to give as much indication to the market as possible about the direction of travel. I'm confident that we'll get more recognition. Certainly, all this news around crypto is adding fuel to the fire. What can I say? Summing it up, frustrating, but nonetheless, we've got our heads down doing the work we're doing, and we'll revisit it. We've got PR efforts as well coming through, so we'll see. But overall, extremely excited, extremely confident.
Okay. Well, Malcolm Palle there, the Executive Chairman and Co-Founder of Coinsilium. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.